Did we, as Brazilian Zouk community and leaders and teachers, sell out the dance?
Where are the Brazilians in the Brazilian Zouk communities around the world? Brazilians are everywhere. We spread out.
The dance became so international and so big internationally that it has really disconnected from how it feels like to be in a Brazilian party.
Many Brazilians I know, they leave Brazil, but Brazil is still very much alive in them. So going to a social, forró, samba, is like coming home.
The reality is, Brazilian Zouk may be a Brazilian dance that evolved from lambada, but the music has gone so far from a lot of the rhythms and styles of music that we have in Brazil. And I think that's what's missing in Brazilian Zouk, that part of Brazil. Because when a Brazilian person goes to a forró party, they feel like, oh, this is a little bit of Brazil here. They go to a samba party, they feel like, oh, yes, there's a little bit of Brazil here. When they go to a Zouk social, they don't feel that for many reasons. But one of the main reasons, I think, it's the music. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back our beautiful co-host, Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ZoukNerds. I'm excited about this episode.
Yes, this is an episode that was prompted by Gui and his recent experiences, which is to talk about where are the Brazilians in the Brazilian Zouk community. So where are they, Gui?
Oh my God, where are the Brazilians? I'll tell you how this whole thing began. Yeah. And this is one of those things that is right in front of us, right in front of you. If you look around right now, you see what we're going to talk about. I was in Sydney in January and going to the socials every Friday, dancing with the people there. And I was missing something. I was missing someone to squeeze me.
A hug?
No, I was getting the hugs.
Oh, okay.
I wanted a squeeze.
Okay. Next level, guys. There's a difference, okay?
I was missing like that tenderness, that I was missing more, something more. And I was getting this invitation to go to the Forró social every Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, I have a Forró social there. Then eventually, I was taken to the Forró social. I got to the Forró social. The class was still going on, but in the waiting area, all I hear is Portuguese. Portuguese. And I hear the Portuguese in a way that it felt like I was in a small branch of Brazil inside of Sydney.
In Brazilian embassy.
In Brazilian embassy. It was really crazy. The energy, the whole thing, the way people stand, the way people look at each other, the way people talk.
Must have been very loud.
Yes.
Brazilians, guys.
Yes, it was fascinating. Then the class is over, the social begins, Forró starts, and everybody goes in. I am invited to dance. I get into the room and I am invited to dance immediately. Somebody recognized me. And the first embrace I get that squeeze. I was missing, And the song that was playing, I knew how to sing the song. I was thinking, oh my God, I haven't heard this song in such a long time. And it felt so good. It felt so familiar. Then other people. And then I realized that in that row, there was a majority of Brazilians. And the locals perhaps were the minority, And another thing that I realized, it was that they were, as we say in Portuguese, they were dressing the shirt of the forró ways, the forró culture. So shorts, flip-flops, sometimes barefoot, and very light clothing. And the music is going, and then
they were looking the part.
Yes, exactly. I had the epiphany. Here are the Brazilians are here. And then, by contrast, on Friday, I go to the Brazilian Zouk social, where there is one besides me. And the vibe is completely different. So the contrast of going to the Forró social, then going to the Brazilian Zouk social, it was another slap on my face, like a philosophical slap on the face of something that has been in front of me this whole time. And I had glimpses of it. I thought about it a little bit, but only after that experience, I really got to think about it. Where are the Brazilians in the Brazilian Zouk communities around the world? Brazilians are everywhere. You know, we spread out. Perhaps not here in Taipei, perhaps not in Japan. No, Japan, we have
so many.
Yes,
Yeah,
Japan
so
we have. In Europe, we have. Remind me of the experience of going to the Forró Social when I went to Barcelona for the first time. That was 2015. Same thing. I went to the Forró Social. It was almost like going through a portal. And I am somewhere in Brazil. I'm listening to Portuguese speaking. I'm listening to, it was a Forró trio playing, so it was live music. And it felt, again, familiar. Another example. Adelaide. We went to meet our host in Adelaide.
In Australia.
In Australia. She was finishing her Samba de Gafieira class. Same thing. A lot of Brazilians there. To the point that sometimes the class, it was in Portuguese, some parts of it. Here are the Brazilians again. And that made me think of our experience in DC when we were in DC. I started teaching in DC. Not immediately Brazilian Zouk. I was teaching Forró a little bit, Bolero, a little bit, Samba de Gafieira a little bit. And then these classes were in a Brazilian cultural center where they would teach capoeira and all these other things. There were some Brazilians around. I met some Brazilians there. In District Zouk classes, I think we must have had maybe 3 or 4 Brazilians in all these years. Right now, I think there's still 1. And guys, we're talking about students. We're not talking about the teachers. Because if we think about the teachers, almost all are Brazilians. So we have this very interesting thing where in a Brazilian Zouk dance community, outside of Brazil, and when we think about the big circuit, the traveling circuit, the teachers are Brazilians, majority.
I mean, we're talking about the ones who are traveling, the ones who are like doing these kind of things, not the local communities. There's a lot of local teachers teaching, but yeah.
Exactly. The traveling are the Brazilians. And the local and the people that come to the festivals are not the Brazilians. And, you know, why?
I think the first thing is the connection that we're missing with music, because we've discussed this before. The reality is, Brazilian Zouk may be a Brazilian dance that evolved from lambada and all the things that we know. But the music has gone so far from it. So far from a lot of the rhythms and styles of music that we have in Brazil. It's just like that. And something that I shared before was that when I was teaching Perth, I had my students who were from Zouk classes, and then I had students from Samba de Gafieira, Bolero, and Forró. Some of them were crossovers, but a lot of the people who were doing the other Brazilian dances, they wanted to know about the country, the music. They started learning the language. They had a completely different relationship with the dance because the dance represented to them a part of Brazil.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing in Brazilian Zouk, that part of Brazil. Because there are so many reasons that we're going to cover in this episode, but when a Brazilian person goes to a Forró party, they feel like, oh, this is a little bit of Brazil here. They go to a Samba party, they feel like, oh, yes, there's a little bit of Brazil here. When they go to a Zouk social, they don't feel that. For many reasons, but one of the main reasons, I think, it's the music.
1000%. And I think here it's good that we reference another episode we did that we talked about how Brazilian is Brazilian Zouk. Yeah, so go to that episode. You know, I don't know how to say if I can leave somewhere here.
Somewhere, or just scroll back on the playlist.
Yes, you know, go to that episode that we talk about that. And the music aspect for me, what came to mind, all I have is my experience and what I talk to people. I talked to some of the people after that social in Forró, if they could come to the social Friday, if they could come to the class Friday. And there's the side of Brazilian speaking conversation that I don't like very much. It's like, no, I'll be there. I'll see you there. I will see if I can go. And sometimes the message is saying, oh, when is it? What time is it? How much is it? And you think they're going to come? No. None of them came.
Learn this about Brazilians. A yes is not a yes. I'm going doesn't mean they're going. See you there doesn't mean they will be there.
Okay.
It's a sad reality of our culture, guys.
I hoped. But none of them came. And I got really curious, And one of them told me they find the teaching of it very challenging, So Forró, you go to I haven't been to a Forró class in a long time. Back in the day, you would be able to go to a Forró class, learn the basic step, and you could dance that easily the whole night.
Sorry, I refer usually Forró to all of you guys who don't know what we're talking about.
Look it up, Forró.
Think about simple salsa or simple bachata. You go to one class, you learn a couple of movements, you feel happy, you feel excited, you stay for the social, people dance with you, all of that. How often does that happen in a Brazilian Zouk community?
Exactly.
It's not impossible, but it's how often do you get that?
Yeah, because with the basic step of Forró and the way that the dance etiquette happens in Forró, the social goals, you could. In Brazilian Zouk, we're working on it.
Yeah.
So
it's getting better.
Getting better. There was the first thing. The dance is difficult to learn, or the way that it's taught. It's like intense. And the second thing was not what someone told me. The second thing is something that I realized in my own experience. There is an aspect of predictability of what you're going to get when you go to a Forró social, when it talks about music.
That's very interesting.
Samba de Gafieira. You're going to hear at least a couple things you know how to sing along. A couple things that there is an emotional memory attached to it. There is some experience we had with that song. So Forró has this magical singers, they're a part of folk culture, almost like deities, Dominguinhos, Gonzagão, Gonzaguinha, big names. You're going to hear at least something from these guys, and the way you sing it, the way it hits your body is very different, guys, because in Portuguese, it's a song that you heard when you were a kid, when you were younger. There's something attached to it. Brazilian Zouk, our traditional Brazilian Zouk music is songs that are not made by Brazilians. It's Zouk from the Caribbean, it's Zouk from Cape Verde, it's Kizomba music. Some of them are in Portuguese, but are not Brazilian Portuguese, It's a different accent. It still hits us, but it has a different meaning to it. And the aspect of predictability in that is how dependable the thing is. You go to a Forró social, regardless of the DJ, you know what you're going to get.
Yep.
You go to a Brazilian Zouk social, it really depends on the DJ.
Oh, dear.
And sometimes, even the DJ that that you are more or less aware of what you're going to get, sometimes you don't get the thing. So you go to a Brazilian Zouk social is almost like, for me, it's, hope for the best.
Yeah, but I'm going to say here, this is probably one of the reasons a lot of people do come from salsa and bachata into Zouk, because they're like, oh my God, I can dance to all of the styles of music. So for a non-Brazilian, that's actually a pro. And that's a benefit because it's more connected internationally. So some people fall in love with bachata, with salsa, or with tango, and they're like, yes, culture. Other people, they come to Brazilian Zouk and they go like, yes, the music, I know.
Everything.
Exactly. So, did we, as Brazilian Zouk community and leaders and teachers, sell out the dance? what is it? The chicken or the egg? Was it because we wanted to please the people outside of Brazil that we use less Brazilian music? Or was it because just like it was what naturally happened? Was it because there are many big communities outside of Brazil and that influences the whole international community? Hello.
Hi.
How is in the comment? How is that in your community?
Yes, because it's exactly what you said. We are talking about where are the Brazilians, you know, and the thing that might have pushed them away, or one of the elements that might have pushed them away from dancing Brazilian Zouk outside of Brazil, is the thing that attracted everybody else. You know, the way that the dance is taught, perhaps, is the thing that attracted everybody else. You know, so what made the dance more international, perhaps our most international dance, made it also international. In the sense that we, outside of Brazil, don't have many Brazilians learning how to dance Brazilian Zouk.
The dance became so international and so big internationally that it has really disconnected from how it feels like to be in a Brazilian party.
Exactly.
Such as Forró or Samba party. If you haven't been to one, guys, look up if there is one in your city or somewhere where you're visiting. Please ask people around. It's a whole experience.
Go and let us know, really let us know if you found more Brazilians there. No, because my experience is limited to the few cities that I have been, and that's it. But if you live in Europe, somewhere in Europe or somewhere in Asia or anywhere in the world and you have a Forró social there, go there and check and let us know if our observations extend beyond our experience. And because I would be really, really curious to know what is the situation outside of what we saw or what we have seen, you know. And to the topic of music, I think by also observing how people react in big festivals when the known stuff is played, how they cheer and scream, you have an indication that the aspect of knowing the song, having a relationship with that song, does have a big impact in the energy of the whole thing. Yeah. So that's another invitation, I guess, because we have talked about music here a couple times before. But now the framework, the lenses that we are putting this on is the lenses of somebody that is going to a social dance experience. And the fact that they know what they're going to get is perhaps an attracting factor. You know, you go to a place and you know what you're going to get, and therefore you go because you know what you're going to get. There are no surprises in that sense. I am very moved by music, and I think you are as well. When a song plays that the artist likes, he is possessed.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and me too. And that's the thing that we could go more into, perhaps, you know, be more dependable with what we are playing. And I know that DJs sometimes they really want to research new things and find new things and keep doing that. That's amazing. While keep bringing the stuff that people know. Keep bringing the stuff, especially the dinosaurs that keep coming back. You give us, us 2, 3, 5 songs that we really know, and that puts back our energy all the way up sometimes. Refuels the battery, and we are good to go to this more.
I think there are many things that we can do as a community to try and help that. One of the things is, obviously, with the music, as we're talking about so much, trying to put more Brazilian-made songs into classes, into the socials. Not because we're trying to erase what's being done, but just because I think it would be nice for the mix, for people to understand that nowadays we do have more Brazilian music that can be Zoukable. It wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case
decades ago.
Yeah.
Okay. The music that was being produced was not really Zoukable, But over the last 10 plus years, I think there's a lot.
Yeah.
Like without a remix, just play it and it's there. Maybe you have to drop the speed by quite a bit, but it's there. The other thing is to really understand and connect this dance with the other dances. But that takes a lot more energy because you may not have in your city or community the reach to go to a forró class or to go to a samba class. But if you do, please attend one of those classes, or if there is a festival that you go to and they have one of those classes, go there and attend so you can connect a little bit more and understand that actually Brazilian Zouk is a big mix of all Brazilian dances. You know, it's this dance that was influenced by everything and learned from every other dance, not just Brazilian dance, all of the dances around the world. So it is like this kind of restaurant that you can get a burger, you can get Thai food, you can get Japanese sushi, and you can also get Indian food. You can get some Austrian schnitzel. You can get everything in that same restaurant. That's kind of like a Brazilian Zouk party.
Man, you said something, that analogy makes so much sense. It makes even more sense because about the topic of the episode, where are the Brazilians in the Brazilian Zouk community? Many Brazilians I know, they leave Brazil, but Brazil is still very much alive in them. So going to a social, forró, samba, it's like coming home. They're going to listen to songs that they know. Going to a Brazilian Zouk social is very different because they will very likely not get anything they know, especially if they are coming in for the first time. The Brazilians that we know in the communities around the world, they have been in it for a while. So they got used to it and they like it very much and they're learning all the things. To attract new ones, it's harder. It's much harder, especially if they really like to eat rice and beans, you know, every day. Guys, I haven't eaten rice and beans almost 10 years that I haven't eaten rice and beans as my meal. And I spent my whole life in Brazil, eating rice and beans almost every day. I left Brazil and that was gone almost completely, except for the years that I lived with my dad, that he would do beans and rice and I would eat rice and beans. But when he left and I stayed by myself in the US, that was gone. Some Brazilians get out of Brazil. Where's the beans? Where can I buy beans? So one of the first things that we do is find a grocery where we can buy beans and make beans so we can eat rice and beans, you know? And that, I think the same goes to this and music. We are living somewhere, but I'm still listening to forró at home. I'm still listening to bossa nova at home. Yeah, so some Brazilians leave Brazil and really leave Brazil.
Yes.
Brazil gets out, geographically gets out, but still here somewhere, family perhaps. But the rice and beans, it's okay.
Yeah.
We go well without them. The music's okay. We go well without them. But some others, no.
One thing that I'm going to talk about now, which is very, very important to understand financially speaking, is that I went to Australia as an immigrant. I was there as a student. So basically, I had enough money to survive and sometimes not even to take a bus. I would walk. So as a Brazilian person who was an immigrant doing their best to survive, I didn't have the financial ability to actually go to a dance class or a dance party. And most of the Brazilians out there, they are in that situation. In Europe, in Australia, maybe not so much in Asia, because I don't know if there is a lot of that here. I think a lot of people who come around to Asia, they already come with a job, with a career or something like that. But especially in Australia, speaking for that, a ton who come for 6 months or 12 months or 2 years to do some studies and hopefully stay or sometimes just go back. So it is a temporary thing and they're just trying to do their best and they don't have a lot of money. So wherever they're going to put their money in is something that is high reward, low risk, low commitment. So they go to a forró party, they're going to get the whole thing for $10, $20. They know it. They go to a Zouk party, they may get something, or they go to a Zouk class, but then they have to do like 3 or 6 months course to kind of fit in and feel like something is happening. So there's also that financial side that, yes, there's a lot of Brazilians, but not a lot of them are stable in their life and career and financials to be able to commit to a 3 to 6 or 9 months course, because they may just be doing a 3 months visa.
And that makes a lot of sense. Yes, that's another thing that they mentioned too in Sydney. The price of taking the class and going for the social, it was really accessible. I don't know, I forget how much it was.
For the forró?
For the forró. Really, really accessible. And comparing that to Brazilian Zouk, it was the price that they were paying for this amount of things in forró, it would pay for just a social in Brazilian Zouk. And that's definitely a factor. When I was looking at options to leave Brazil and live outside of Brazil, mostly what you get is Canada, Australia, and Ireland. These were the programs, like the study work programs. They were mostly in the US. But the most accessible ones were Ireland and Australia. So you do have Brazilians moving to these countries more to work, study, and therefore the resources are very limited. I remember I was able to save money for an 18 months program, and I'll have just a little bit left. So I would really need to make work the 20 hours a week that I could work, So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I say that because for years and years when I was in Australia, a lot of Brazilians would come to me and say, oh, I really want to learn more Brazilian dances, but I checked the prices and I really can't afford it right now. And I'm trying to save for my next visa, or my rent is very expensive right now. Once I move and I find a cheaper place, I'll come back to dancing. So there was always that interest, but they just couldn't afford a lot of the times. Unless they're already got the job, they're not in student visa anymore, or they've been living there for a while, they're married and all of those things. So the Brazilian people that we see in the community now, they're already on that next stage, I think.
That's true, yes.
The transient ones, they don't usually come to the community. They just go to the high reward, low risk samba or forró parties.
That makes a lot of sense, because the Brazilians that I've met, they are the communities. They're either there in doctorate program or marry someone there, living there now.
They have some stability.
That makes a lot of sense. I haven't thought about that. Yeah. Which is fascinating because creates this interesting situation where the traveling artists, they are Brazilians. They are successful Brazilian dancers. And in the local communities, we don't have the Brazilians. We do have the local teachers who are local, who learn how to dance Brazilian Zouk really well and are able to teach, create a whole curriculum. And then we go back to that whole conversation of, why don't we get more international teachers to be international traveling teachers and teach in the festivals while we keep getting the Brazilians and everything? And it comes back to the aspect of authenticity, I think,
From the audience.
From the audience.
Because we've discussed this before. I think from the teacher side, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I've never had a Brazilian dance partner.
Yeah.
All of my dance partners are not Brazilians, not because I wanted or I didn't want to, just because it happened. And for me, there is no difference. As long as you're a hard worker and you study a lot, let's go.
Yeah.
But from the audience,
different story.
You just put from Brazil, that's it. People pay more, people attend more, even if they've never heard of the name or seen a video of the person. It is what it is, if you're trying to sell something and you say imported from Japan.
Yes.
People are going to pay more.
And I was going to give a Japan example now because I was watching a documentary thing about matcha. And the specialist that they invited to talk about matcha is an American lady from New York who studied matcha, did the whole thing. But I bet if you put this person next to a Japanese lady, who has 5 years of matcha versus a one with 30 years of matcha, instinctively you're going to go to the Japanese lady because of authenticity.
Yeah.
And the Brazilians that eventually go to dance as a students, they also benefit from that because they think because they are Brazilians, they are automatically dancing better. That's because they...
Oh, that's a whole different episode.
A whole different episode. But that happens too. Because, the name of the dance is Brazilian Zouk. So just the fact somebody is Brazilian lends them this aura of authenticity, even though they might not know the dance. However, there is one thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything that we only have a few minutes left. I'm going to chip it in.
However, there's one thing. The few Brazilians we had in DC, a couple of the reasons why they left. So one of them is too serious. The dance is too hard, too serious. The second one, they were all followers. And the second reason why they left is because of a similar reason why I went to Forró in Sydney. They were missing the tenderness.
The squeeze.
They were saying, the guys are too serious. They don't look at me. They don't relate with me. They don't connect with me. And that connection is just looking and smiling. And then in Maryland, my first years in the US, I would teach a group of only Brazilians. I would go to the house of the lady and I would teach only Brazilians. We teach Bolero, Forró, and Brazilian Zouk. And a couple of them tried to go to the social and they went back to just dance among themselves for that same reason. They were missing the tenderness. They were like, oh, but they don't even look at me,
That's true.
Yeah. So that's another aspect too. We are sometimes lacking that aspect of the human warmth. And if the person who is coming from Brazil at a later stage of their lives, so they spend big portion of their lives in Brazil, they're coming abroad, they are used to that tenderness.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to that. So they come outside and they don't find it. So they want to go somewhere where they can find it. And to find that tenderness in Brazilian Zouk, it takes a little longer because to get confident in this dance, especially as a leader, takes longer. So what happened with these people that came to learn, these Brazilian followers that came to learn with us in DC, is that they didn't have time or the patience to really stay until they found that tenderness they were looking for.
Yeah, there's a curve of from when you start until you get to that place where a lot of you might know, where people hug and people enjoy dancing with each other. They look deeply in the eyes and they connect, they breathe together, because you may be thinking, but hang on, we have that in Brazilian Zouk. Yes, we do. But it's often not part of the beginning.
Nope.
It's something that you earn after a long time of hard work and investment into your dance, into the community, into the friendships. And then you get to that place where you get all the hugs and you get all the cuddles and you get all the squeezes.
Yes.
It's not instant. Whereas in a Brazilian dance party, most of the times it is, whether you would like it or not.
Is that double-edged words that we're talking about refer to the internationalization of the dance, where we want to bring people in, therefore we adapt? While tango, for example, whether they say the embrace is negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to dance tango, we dance in the embrace. In Forró, you tap into the dance and the culture almost right away. And then you see everybody in the closeness. In Brazilian Zouk, we adapt. So we say, you can dance close, you can dance far, all is good, all is game. And then that's a way that we bring people in, and then we slowly bring them and teach them about how to be close in a way that is comfortable, in a way that is respecting the boundaries, respecting the other person. We go through all this process. Yeah. And the idea is because the Brazilians that we have met and we talk to are more used to that, and they don't get it right away, they will not have the patience to wait, And that's something that has been on my mind a lot about this aspect of the tenderness, the connection, because I missed it. I was in Sydney for 3 weeks. And then in the second week, I was missing it so much, and I'm used to it. I'm used to go a whole social dancing far from someone. But when that happens over and over again, I miss it. I miss the tenderness. So I can't truly understand when somebody wants to get something familiar that they will get that they want and that they know. So it's a reflection, I think, here, guys, that we leave for you. We will still want to hear if you go to a Forró social.
Yes.
If you found the Brazilians there, how there was. And this remembering that our dance comes from this country where people dance close, where people sing along, where the songs that we dance to are not only movement, but it's art in its entirety because it touches you emotionally and you feel something when you dance. Yeah, in Brazilian Zouk, sometimes we dance to a rhythm, but we are doing the rhythm. We are not necessarily connected to melody, to intention, to vibe. And when somebody feels that for the first time, the quality of their dance changes completely and the way they listen to the song changes completely.
The typical thing we say that Brazilian Zouk social sometimes can be crazy because you stop the music, people keep dancing. You change the music, people keep dancing. You play something completely not Zouk, people continue dancing because a lot of the times they're not connected to the music.
They're connected with each other, which is great, And again, we're not saying, not even necessarily, we are not saying bring the Brazilians to Brazilian Zouk. Not that. We are just pointing out this observation, which for me, I don't know for you, is fascinating in a crazy level. That's why I think that's why I thought it would be nice for us to talk about this here.
Absolutely. So please stay in touch. Share with us in the comments what's the experience that you've had in the community and what's the experience that you have in the future when you go to those socials. And once again, thank you for being here. Help us by following and subscribing and sharing and liking this so we can continue doing more episodes for you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Ciao, people.